All right, so let's talk about authentication for WPA2. Now, we talked about WPA1 on the last slide. What's the difference here? Well, we're going to be using 802.1x as we did in WPA1. We do have the option for the pre-shared key as well. The current implementation is 802.11i. Now, this is WPA2, so we have advanced beyond. We have advanced beyond WEP. We have advanced beyond WPA, and we've advanced beyond TKIP. All those are no longer used in our 802.11i standards because we've implemented what? WPA2. And this is what's used in modern enterprise handshakes. Modern enterprise environments, and hopefully in your home environment as well. Much more secure than the other environments. Now, WPA uses Advanced Encryption Standard. Now, that is known as AES, and it also uses something known as CCMP. Now, CCMP is a very long acronym, okay? It's counter mode with cipher block chaining with message authentication code protocol. Yeah, I know. It's horrible. But here's the essence of it. It uses basically an initialization vector to get things started in the encryption process. That's used to encrypt in the beginning, and then we do a plain text to ciphertext. So there's our block. We're doing blocks of our message. And then what we do is we take the result of that and add in something and bring it up to the top and do the next block based on our first block. So that's where the block chaining comes in. So we're doing blocks of information. We're encrypting it with using an initialization vector at first. And then at the end of that process, we're adding a little bit of that first process into the second process, which completely throws the initialization vector up, which is, the random process for cipher to turn it into a cipher. So what we have is a chain event. The first block changes the second block, which changes the third block, which changes the fourth block, and so on and so forth. Now, there is a small or a slight disadvantage to this when we're using CCMP. If there's any degradation of the original message, because we are chaining off of those, what happens is everything is unreadable. So if you are using block chaining, cipher block chaining, and you encrypt traffic to me and I receive the first block, and I receive the second block, but the second block has an issue. It was damaged in transit. Because that second block creates the third block, when I receive the third block, I don't understand it. I can't understand it because the second block was damaged when I received it. So that's one of the weaknesses of block chaining. And also there's counter mode. Counter mode allows us a little bit more protection against encryption breaks. So very complicated processes, very complicated acronym, but it is very, very much a step up in security over our past utilizations of encryption. Next up, we have our four-way handshake. We're going to introduce you to this. We'll go step by step through this process so you understand the four-way handshake. This happens after the EAP process. So remember, I told you, if you don't have the EAP process down, go back and revisit that. Understand the EAP or EAP poll process. Find out what's going on in their different EAP authentication processes. And then come back here because we're building on that now with WPA2.